The summit between U.S. and Russian leaders Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin in Alaska on Friday is undoubtedly one of the most important diplomatic developments of the last few years. The location of the meeting is also of historical significance and a topic of debate in itself. Trump and Putin will meet in Anchorage, the largest city in Alaska, which is now U.S. territory. The reason for this is that Alaska, currently the largest state in the U.S. and covering approximately one-fifth of the country's total area, once belonged to Russia. A quite logical choice of location located in the northwesternmost part of North America, Alaska is separated from Russia by the Bering Strait, which is 82 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. When Trump announced that the summit would be held in Alaska, Putin's aide Yuri Ushakov said that it seemed quite logical for the Russian delegation to fly over the Bering Strait and for such an important summit between the leaders of the two countries to be held in Alaska. However, the historical ties between Russia and Alaska date back to the early 1700s. That is, to the time when the indigenous peoples of Siberia first spoke of a vast land to the east. In 1728, an expedition led by Danish navigator Vitus Bering discovered that the new lands were not connected to the Russian mainland. However, the expedition failed due to heavy fog. In 1741, another expedition led by Bering was successful, and humans were sent ashore. This was followed by several commercial expeditions, and when the first sea otter furs were brought back to Russia, it opened the door to a profitable fur trade between Europe, Asia, and the Pacific coast of North America. However, in the 19th century, British and American fur traders became powerful competitors to the Russians. This fierce competition came to an end in 1824, when Russia signed separate agreements with the U.S. and Britain. But due to the near extinction of the sea otter population and the political consequences of the Crimean War, 1853-56, Russia voluntarily agreed to sell Alaska to the U.S., a foolish purchase. William Seward, the U.S. Secretary of State at the time, led the negotiations for the purchase of the land and secured an agreement with the Russians. After prolonged opposition, the U.S. Congress approved Seward's official offer of $7.2 million, and on October 18, 1867, the American flag was raised over Sitka, the capital of Alaska at the time. Initially, the purchase of Alaska was criticized and referred to as Seward's folly by those who believed the land had nothing to offer. When adjusted for inflation, the $7.2 million paid by the U.S. is equivalent to just over $100 million today, which is a relatively low price for what is now the largest state in the U.S. From the late 19th century onwards, gold, oil, and natural gas discoveries began in Alaska, yielding significant profits in a short time. Seward's move had paid off, and in 1959, Alaska officially became the 49th state of the United States. Alaska, rich in natural resources, has more than 12,000 rivers and numerous lakes. Its capital, Juneau, is the only U.S. state capital accessible only by boat or plane. Lake Hood in Anchorage is the world's busiest seaplane base, with approximately 200 flights per day. Presidents Trump and Putin will meet at Elmendorf-Richardson Joint Base, the state's largest military facility. This 64,000-acre base is considered a key area for U.S. military preparedness in the Arctic. Alaska has previously hosted American diplomacy. In March 2021, Joe Biden's new diplomatic and national security team met with their Chinese counterparts in Anchorage. No official details about the summit have emerged, but the White House said the Alaska talks would be a listening session for Trump and would provide the U.S. president with the best assessments on how to end this war. When Trump announced the summit last week, he spoke optimistically about the possibility of concrete steps toward peace resulting from the meeting. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had previously said that any agreement reached without Kiev's participation would amount to dead-on-arrival decisions.